Next Wednesday, July 26th at 10 a.m., the House Oversight Committee will hold a hearing on unidentified anomalous phenomena. It will be held by the Oversight Committee on National Security, the Border, and Foreign Affairs. The witnesses will be as follows. David Grush, he's a decorated former combat officer who served in Afghanistan, and he recently told the world news about his experiences serving on a UAP task force led by the U.S. Navy from 2019 to 2022. Commander David Fravor, he's a former Navy commander who shot the famous Tic Tac video that you've seen. It's on YouTube. It's 60 Minutes, did a special on it. He did that in 2004 during a routine training flight over the Pacific Ocean. Ryan Graves, he's a former Navy pilot. He reported multiple UAP encounters during training flights. And the interesting thing about Ryan was that he warned the Pentagon that these encounters are putting our pilots at risk. He attended the hearing held by the House Intelligence Committee last year, but was not allowed to speak. If you all remember, he wasn't even allowed admittance. He had to have someone gave him press credentials to get in, which I thought really stunk. Last year, the House Intelligence Committee held a hearing on UAPs. They brought in some Pentagon bureaucrats who only had two answers to the questions they were asked. I don't know, or that's classified. This hearing is going to be different. We're going to have witnesses who can speak frankly to the public about their experiences. We've had a heck of a lot of pushback about this hearing. We've had members of Congress who fought us. We've had members of the intelligence community and also the Pentagon. Even NASA backed out on us. I've even tried to introduce an amendment to the Federal Aviation Administration Reauthorization Bill, and all that would do would require the Federal Aviation Administration to report UAP sightings by commercial pilots to Congress. The intelligence community shut it down. This is ridiculous, folks. They do exist or they don't exist. They keep telling us they don't exist, but they block every opportunity for us to get a hold of the information to prove that they do exist. And we're going to get to the bottom of it, dadgummit, whatever the truth may be.
We're all leading this effort on a bipartisan basis. And ultimately, if the answers are there are no unidentified aerial phenomenon, then say that. But that's not what the answers are. The answers are we can't tell you. And it's just finally time the U.S. government answer questions about what they know and when did they know it. Taxpayers are paying for programs that are keeping this information secret. They have a right to know where their dollars are going.
These same questions have been echoed by many leaders on a bipartisan basis, from Jimmy Carter to Barack Obama, from Hillary Clinton to Donald Trump, from Marco Rubio to Chuck Schumer, from the former Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, to current officials at the National Security Council. They have all called for disclosure of UAPs. It is extremely unnecessary and an overclassification. If the last few months have taught me anything, especially in investigating this, it is that this issue is in the hands of the American people and they deserve answers. When I take at face value the numerous roadblocks that we've been presented with, it leads me to believe that they are indeed hiding information. I look forward to bringing this topic to light and finding out the truth of what is really out there.
Conspiracies and rumors tend to flourish in places where the federal government is silent or not transparent. The American people deserve to know what their tax dollars are funding and what the government knows. That's just plain and simple.
Representative Luna and I experienced was, and we contacted the Air Force and we flew. We were told we were going to be briefed, and the synopsis had nothing to do. It was some pretty big important stuff, but it was not anything to do with the UFO. And we stopped the thing rightfully right in the middle of it and said, hey, this is not what you all told us we were coming down here for. And they basically told us, we're not going to give it to you. The arrogance of this general was beyond belief.
Oh, yeah, of course. It was the commanding general of Eglin Air Force Base. And ultimately, even before we got down there, the Pentagon actually tried to cancel the field hearing. And also, it's important to note that these were whistleblowers. These were pilots that had come forward to Representative Gates' office with information saying this needs to be investigated. We have an increase in sightings in this region. And it's a cause for concern for national security reasons. We don't know what it is. So we went down there. We were stonewalled. They would not give us access to testimony from some of the pilots. They were hiding images and information.
We were told there was pictures available, which we still haven't seen.
And ultimately what ended up happening is we had to actually call House Armed Services. Chairman Rogers got involved. The Pentagon got involved. The Department of the Air Force got involved. We actually got into an argument with the general of that base. And it's important to note that we were there simply to follow up on the whistleblowers that came forward with information. And so if the Department of the Air Force, if the Pentagon thinks that they're above Congress, they have something else coming to them. We told them we were going to do this if they continue to hide information. And ultimately, the American people deserve the facts.
Decorated veterans. These people, why would they risk their reputations and careers over something that they're lying about? It's too big right now, and I don't believe they can keep their thumb in the dam too much longer, because people are coming forward at too rapid of a rate. Right. I'll answer the last one first. It's a good question. We're not really sure. I was told the intelligence community blocked it, and then I was told that the intelligence committee blocked it. And it depends on who you talk to. I think that's your all's jobs as reporters to find out what the hell's going on with this stuff. This is about power. It's about control. It's about money. It's about greed and corruption. And that's what runs this country right now. And that's a disgrace.
Why are they overclassifying this? And why aren't they being transparent? Reasserting, I should say, Congress's role in all of this. I mean, to Tim's point, I mean, the United States Congress passed a law on the JFK assassination. That information under that law is now supposed to be available. And yet president after president violates both parties, right? Violates that law and extends the information. To his point, why? And that's really what's happening here. We're interested in the why. Why are they doing this? Why won't they tell the American people, yes, it's a national security issue? Of course it is, right? Can't we tell the American people that it isn't China, it isn't Russia? Are we okay with the federal government keeping information from the American people because they're trying to prevent us from having anxiety on all sorts of issues? I mean, if they can do it here, what else are we going to give them authority to not tell the American people because they're interested in controlling and keeping us in a bubble? I mean, that's a scary thought, that they don't trust us, that the universe is a big place. I mean, everyone learns about that in school, right? The universe is a big place. Our solar system is a big place. We're learning about solar systems far beyond. And so the idea that the human brain can't tolerate that there might be life somewhere else, I just don't accept that.
Roadblocks that they are facing.
Sure. I mean, we've had witnesses that have backed out on us and have told us that they received inquiries, I guess you could say, from the Pentagon. And so obviously we're over the target, and they know it. And that's why they're firing at us. And if there isn't anything, then why the push to cover it up? Why don't we know? All we want is transparency. Tell us what it is. Possibly, but I think what you're going to see is real questions. When the Intelligence Committee held that bogus meeting in the public, I mean, literally the people that they brought from the Pentagon couldn't spell UFO. That was the most ridiculous thing. I don't know if any of y'all saw that or not. And all the footage that we've seen, all the testimony, we had a pilot there who's going to be here who was denied access. That's a question the press ought to ask. Why is the intelligence community blocking everything we do? Both parties. It doesn't matter who's in the White House. The American public deserves to know. Let's get to the bottom of it. I've seen better quality videos,
absolutely.
dude. Absolutely 100%. And they need to release them.
But it was really hard for him to get this scheduled. It was hard for him to get it scheduled. It was hard for Congressman Luna to get it scheduled. It was hard to get a room. It was hard to get staff on board. It was hard to get approval. Every single step that they had to go through to make this hearing happen next week, the witnesses, they were stonewalled, and they had to push and push and push. Again, if there's nothing to talk about, why was it so difficult? And that, again, is what breeds these theories and these concerns. And so I think the best thing that can happen, quite frankly, just to end this whole debate is just like, let's hear the testimony and let the government come forward and figure out what they have and share it with the American people.
I think that it's probably going to be the start. What Representative Burchett, myself, and my colleagues behind me have realized is that ultimately, as elected members and being assigned to House oversight and accountability, we can conduct field hearings. And if we continue to get stonewalled, if we smell that they're giving us a bunch of BS, we are going to do the field hearings directly at those locations. And we're going to open it up to the press, because full transparency really is what we need in this situation. And ultimately, to piggyback off of what all my colleagues have said, the military, the Pentagon, the intelligence agency, they answer to the people and thus Congress. And so we are going to hold them accountable.